Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see very important articles that happened in our today's newspaper. And at last we are going to see even prelims based questions guys. Please don't skip this video. Please do watch until last. And now let us see the important articles of the day. So first article it is about retail inflation moves up marginally to 0.7% in month of November. So the key word in this article here is retail inflation, and this inflation is very important topic from your economy, and every year you will be getting at least one question regarding this inflation prelims. So here this topic is at most important from your prelims from GS paper 3 under economy point of view. And next topic is UNEA adopts India's proposal on wildfire management. So here if you see different natural vegetation in our country, we have especially rainforest in this Andaman and Nicobar region, and across India we have different types of forests like mountain forest, we have desert forest, and even we have dry deciduous forest. So here India is very much prone to this wildfires, and even you studied that in your disaster management as well. So here we are going to come up with this wildfire management or forest fire management plan, and this topic is very important from your disaster management from GS paper 3. And next topic is the Indian Ocean as cradle of new blue economy. The key word in this article is blue economy. So whatever the economy which is related to this water or ocean related things comes under this blue economy. So here we have to see why this Indian Ocean is called as cradle of Indian blue economy or new blue economy. And this topic is very important from your GS paper 3 under economy point of view. And next topic is a critical story that a chunk of media missed. And this article is talking about IMF recent rating for India's accounts committee. And we know that India got the C grade. Out of this A, B, C, D, India got the C grade. So here that article is talking about that thing guys. So it is very important from your economy point of view from GS paper 3. But already we discussed about that article in our earlier classes. Okay, now let us see each and every article in a great detail. Look at the title. Retail inflation moves up marginally to 0.7% in month of November. So what is the keyword? Keyword is retail inflation. So first you have to understand what is the meaning of this word inflation. What does this inflation means? Whenever there is rise of prices of goods and services in market. Whenever there is rise of price of goods and service in market, that condition is called as inflation. And here in this inflation, we have two types of inflation. We have wholesale price inflation and next one is retail price inflation. So what is wholesaler and what is retailer? So whenever a person who buys in bulk from a manufacturing unit or from any industry, that person is called as wholesaler. At wholesaler level, whenever there is increasing of price, that condition is called as wholesale price inflation. And you and me, whenever we go to nearby shop to buy anything, so at the retailer level, whenever there is increasing of price of goods and service happens, that is called as retail price inflation. Now this article is talking about retail inflation guys. That means at consumer level. Okay, how we are going to calculate this retail price inflation? What is the index we have? We have CPI, Consumer Price Index. So this Consumer Price Index will measure this retail inflation. And regarding this wholesale price inflation, we have Wholesale Price Index, which will measure this change or like rise or decreasing of this price of goods and service in market. Okay, so here we are going to talk about this CPI and as well as retail price inflation which is given in this article. So exactly what you have to see, you have to see certain areas here. First you have to understand what is this retail price. You know about this retail price. If you're buying any product, on that product we have this MRP. What is this MRP? Maximal retail price. Okay, so here the price at which the goods will be sold by a shopkeeper to normal consumers is called as retail price or MRP guys. Okay, and this MRP includes whatever the taxes, everything everything they will be included in that, and they'll give the maximum retail price. And on that maximum retail price, if possible, you can also bargain on that price. Okay, so here you have to see what is this retail price is about, and next you have to see what is the CPI and who will publish the CPI and how many types of the CPI is there. All these things that you have to see, guys. And this is very important topic. And now let us see the context. If you see the context, it says that retail inflation in India quickened marginally to 0.7% in month of November 2025 from historic low of 0.25% in October 2025, with a continued contraction in food prices offsetting marginal acceleration in fuel inflation. So now in the month of November, there is little bit rise of inflation, that is around 0.7%. If you see this earlier month, that is in this October 2025, it was like 0.25%. So why now there is increasing of inflation? What is the major reason here is, here you can see now almost the food prices had been reduced. Apart from that, there is increase in this fuel inflation. That means there is increasing of cost of this fuel. So why there is increasing of cost of fuel now? What might be the reasons? You know, from which country we are going to get this fuel from? Russia. And we discussed certain articles in our earlier classes, that is around 38% of decreasing of imports from this Russia because of Russia sanction act of US. So when we are decreasing this imports from this Russia, which is giving oil at a discounted price, now we decrease it. That means we have to go and get from other countries. There is no choice. So will they give at this discounted price? For sure, no. Because of this, there is increasing of fuel price. Fuel inflation is happening. That is the one important reason for the contribution of this retail inflation now. And next one here is housing segment has been unchanged. In regard to this housing section or sector, so there is no change of inflation. But here, one more area that you have to see is, we are measuring this retail inflation under the CPI. Here you have to see what all items will comes under the CPI. On these items, there is a very high chance of getting your prelims based question. Yes, you have to be careful. So in this article, they gave only three things. First one is food prices, second one is fuel, and third one is housing. So these three will be there for sure. Apart from these three, what all are items which comes under the CPI, that you have to check. Okay, now let us see some basic facts regarding this retail inflation. Retail inflation is mainly measured by the CPI, that is nothing but consumer price index. So consumer price index measures overall change in consumer prices on respective baskets of goods and services over a time. And what is the base year? The base year is 2012. We already know that IMF also gave a very bad grade for India. Why? Because of one reason is base year. So we are not upgrading base year compared to that of other countries. That is one important reason they cited. And in this CPI also we are using this base year, that is 2012. And this one here is what all or the baskets of goods will be taken into account. So we have food, we have clothing, transportation, medical care, electricity, education, and more. And who will release this? Every month we are going to get the CPI. Who will release that? NSO, that is nothing but National Statistical Office, which comes under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. In short, MOSPI. Very important point. And what is the important objective? Why will release the CPI? We want to focus on price stability. We want to understand like how this price is there in the market, whether it is increased or decreased. And we have to adjust dearance allowances, and even we can understand the cost of living of people, and as well as purchasing power of people, and how expensive these goods and services are becoming in our market. If you want to know all these details, for sure we need to come up with this kind of indices. And we have four types. Already UPSC asked question regarding this four types of CPI. So first important one is CPI for industrial workers. So whoever the workers who are working in these industries or factories or manufacturing sector, so which kind of goods they will consume more. So based on that, how this goods and services prices are increasing or decreasing for these workers, that will be calculated by using this CPI IW, that is nothing but CPI for industrial workers. And who will release this? Very important, Labor Bureau, which comes under Ministry of Labor and Employment. Very, very important. CPI IW will be released by Labor Bureau. And as far as agricultural laborers, so here also this Labor Bureau compiles CPI for agricultural laborers, and they will assist in revising minimum wages for agricultural wages workers across the different states. So if this CPI for agricultural laborers is released, like how much price increase or happening or decrease or happening for goods and services which are mainly used by these people, based on that we can adjust what is the minimum wage should be given for this agricultural laborers based on this inflation in the market. And next one is CPF for rural laborers, especially whoever the rural laborers, that means the people who are not only working in this agriculture area, even in other areas also, if the people are working, for them what kind of goods they are using and even what kind of services they are opting for, and what about this price rise. So that will be released by again Labor Bureau. And we have fourth one, that is CPI for urban non-manual employees. And here for this urban non-manual employees, it will be released by National Statistical Office. Very, very important. Especially for this non-manual work in urban and non-agricultural sector. So their income and their how much amount they are spending for their goods and services, everything will be compiled under the CPI of non-manual employers. And what are the components? And you have to remember these components based on ascending order or descending order. So which item will be having more contribution? You have to remember the percentage as well. First one is food and beverage, around 45%. Next one is housing, 10%. Fuel and light, 8%. Clothing and footwear, 6%. Pan, tobacco and intoxicant, 2%. And miscellaneous, 28%. So in this way here, there are different items in this basket of CPI, and you have to remember, because they may ask you to arrange them in increasing order or decreasing order. So in this way also you can expect question in your prelims. Okay, now let us see the next article. See the title: in Karnataka, 188 government schools have zero enrollment. Only one teacher in 675 institutes. Okay, so what is happening here is, so this article it is showcasing about what are the problems we are facing in our education sector, especially in these government schools. We know there is no proper enrollment. What is enrollment? Joining or admissions in the schools are not happening. And next one here is, even staff to pupil ratio is very, very low in our country. In around 6,675 schools, only one teacher is maintaining or teaching all the subjects for this students who have been joined in this school's case. So now you have to think why people they are not going for this admissions in these government schools, what are the problems in the government schools, and even you have to see about what can be done to improve their ratio, especially teacher to pupil ratio, how can we increase and what can be done. Okay, so here especially one tyranny in India here is, who will become government teachers? The teachers, people who are having good knowledge, so they will only write multiple examinations and they will get this government job, right? But who will be there in the private areas? The people who didn't clear this examination normally will be working as a private teachers after completion of this B.Ed, TET, like that. But what is happening here, despite of having good human potential in this government sector, the enrollments are becoming zero. That means there are certain problems we can see in this government sector, government schools especially. So you have to identify what problems that we are facing in these government schools. And if you are a district education officer or if you are a district collector, how you can improve your enrollment in your government schools, how can you ensure efficient working of the schools. So in that way you may get a case study case. You have to think about the practical solutions, and today I will be giving you a case study regarding this as a homework today. Okay, yeah, now let us see the next article. Look at the title. UNEA adopts India's proposal on wildfire management. As you all know that India is very much vulnerable to this wildfires. Why? Because we are having great percentage of tropical dry deciduous forest. What happens in this tropical dry deciduous forest during the summer season? Whenever the winds are blowing, especially hot winds are blowing with a very high speed, what happens? The friction will be created between the branches. Because of this friction, obviously that will lead to the fire. So how this early man used to produce fire in the same way, whenever these twigs or branches, whenever they are rubbing against each other because of this fast moving hot winds in that time, that will ignite fire in this regions, especially tropical dry deciduous forest. And even summer season, what happens? The falling of leaves and drying of leaves, that will also boost this fire production in this forest areas. So because of this, now UNEA adopts India's proposal on wildfire management. India came up with a proposal regarding how to manage this wildfire. And finally, UNEA is nothing but United Nations Environment Assembly in Nairobi adopted India's proposal. So it is one greatness that we can see, guys. And here you have to see about what are the proposals came up by our government of India and what are the things which are there, and you have to see like how we can use that proposals in maintaining of wildfires in India. So here it is not a small thing, it is a big achievement for India. What are the proposals came up by India which had been adopted by UNEA? That means you may get a case study regarding this for sure in this year ethics paper. So how can you expect a case study? Here is, you are a forest district forest officer and you're getting the reports of frequent wildfires in your area. How can you control that? Can you add a note on recent India's proposal on wildlife management? So in this way also you can get a question in your ethics case. You have to be very much careful. If you want to answer such kind of questions, you have to know about what are the proposals under this wildfire management given by our government of India. And this topic is important from your disaster management from GS paper 3 and as well as from environment and ecology also. This topic is very important. Okay, and now it is your work to collect certain facts regarding this UNEA. What is this United Nations Environment Assembly is? So do that work. And now let us see the context. India's push for a stronger global system to manage and prevent wildfires centered on early warning mechanisms. We are focusing on early warning mechanisms and as well as risk assessment. And it had been formally adopted by this United Nations Environment Assembly in Nairobi, guys. So because of this, it is in news. So what are the core components India proposed? First one is enhance international cooperation. So here this proposal asks for joint efforts in developing early warning systems, especially in this developing and as well as least developed countries that do not have proper technology. Now it is asking other countries to come forward and to develop proper early warning systems. And not only that, India said that we need to come up with wildlife risk assessment and even we need to have a proper mapping tools and satellite based monitoring of ecosystems, and even we have to come up with community based alert and response mechanisms. So these are the points that you can directly write in your case studies, guys. And this one here is we are going for promoting of regional as well as global collaboration on integrating fire management strategies. And we have to go for prevention, emergency response, and post fire recovery and ecosystem restoration. And they said that we need to come up with a platform. We have to establish a platform where we can exchange best practices, scientific research, indigenous knowledge, and even we can go for enhancing of training programs for policymakers, and even we can go for front line responders, like we have to recruit more firefighters, and even we can take the help of local communities, like which kind of technologies or techniques they will use to control these wildfires, because local community people, they can provide a practical solution like what they are doing in that situation. And this one is they're also asking the member states for providing of certain finance to support other countries so that we can go for establishment of wildfire resilience initiatives in local areas. And finally, they said that this approach, which should integrate both ecological restoration and as well as socio-economic safeguards, because many people, especially scheduled tribes and as well as other forest-dwelling people or communities, will be depending on this forest produce, right? So we have to allow them to collect certain things, so that what they'll do, they will try to reduce these fires. So in this way, we need to have a holistic approach. That is the thing which mainly said in this article, guys. And now let us see the next topic. Next topic is Indian Ocean is as a cradle of a new blue economy. So you know about this word, blue economy. What is this blue? Blue is related to water. So whatever the economy we are reaping from this water comes under this arena of blue economy. So now this article is saying that Indian Ocean as a cradle of new blue economy. That means, you know, India is sharing boundary with this Indian Ocean region. And now there is increasing of power, or power shift is happening from west towards this Indian Ocean region, right? Indo-Pacific region is becoming very, very powerful compared to the Atlantic Ocean now. So now this article is saying that Indian Ocean is going to become a cradle for this new blue economy. And this article is saying that India needs to play an important role so that India can reap its benefits from this Indian Ocean region. So because of this, this is a news. And if you see here, if you're talking about the details which are given here, Indian Ocean is considered as historical cradle of civilizations and as well as trade. And now we are focusing on especially sustainable ocean based growth now. And even India is focusing on green shipping and as well as offshore renewable energies like wind and as well as tidal power production. And we are focusing on sustainable fisheries and as well as aquaculture. And even we are focusing on marine biotechnology, tourism, and increasing of number of ports. So in this way, we are going to reap more benefits from this Indian Ocean region. And there are around 38 littoral countries which are sharing boundary with this Indian Ocean region, out of which India came up with lots of initiatives for development in this Indian Ocean region, like Sagar Mala project, Deep Ocean Mission, IORA cooperation, and even China Indian Ocean Forum in December 2024. So like that, we came with lots of initiatives to reap more benefits from this Indian Ocean region. So because of this, it is acting as a cradle for the development. And why this article is saying like that here is, if you see economically, Indian Ocean mainly contributes around 4% for our India's GDP. Why? Because around 95% of trade happens through this, and even we have untapped renewable energy and as well as minerals. And recently, India got permission for exploration of polymetallic sulfides from this Indian Ocean region. And next one here is, we are focusing on sustainability. Especially, we are having lots of threats in this Indian Ocean region. Why? Because of climate change. Due to climate change, there is increasing of melting of glaciers that will lead to increasing of sea level rise. And even nowadays, we are going for this bottom trawling by this mechanized boats. Because of this, we are going for over exploitation of fishes. And because of this, now we are going to control all these things. We want to reverse all these things by following the sustainable development goals, like sustainable development goal 14, and as well as we are focusing on Paris agreement. What is this Paris agreement is about? We have to reduce climate change by decreasing of global warming by 1.5 to 2 degrees centigrade when we are comparing with that of pre-industrial levels. And not only that, we came up with this program called as Sagar Vision. And in this Sagar program, we are focusing on increasing of security or growth, and especially we are focusing on global south equity. And even we came up with this recent finance pledges, etc. And what is the impact? So if you see about this impact, whenever we are generating more income from this oceans, or whenever we are focusing on this new blue economy, obviously it will be boosting our GDP. So here there are certain projections says that 2 to 3 times of growth we can increase. We can contribute to our GDP, because whenever we are going for exploitation of these resources in this Indian Ocean region, and we can create millions of jobs in this tourism and as well as aquaculture. And obviously we can improve our trade, and as well as we can come up with the blue bonds, so that we can generate certain amount of income or amount of money so that we can invest in this developmental projects. And this one is from environmental point of view also. If you're going for this development, or like if you're going for restoration, or whenever you're going for the sustainable methods, obviously it will helpful for restoration of our ecosystem. And next one here is we can mitigate the biodiversity loss or climate resilience, and we can improve the livelihoods of the people, and we can ensure food security, protein security, ecotourism methods, and obviously we can reduce poverty and we can increase income for these people who are living in these coastal areas. And this one is we can also improve our regional ties with IORA and even some other groupings, etc. And we can promote blue peace, and as well as we can reduce the risk of competition for resources in Indian region like that. So in this way, we are going to have lots of benefits if we are going to read this in Indian region, guys. And there is one article, see here, a critical story that chunk of the media missed. So this article is talking about only one thing: the International Monetary Fund, that is IMF, grading of India's national account statistics is a matter of concern. So here, just see about what is the grading that it gave. It gave C grading for our India statistics accounts, right? So here, why? Just see why, and you have to see about what are the measures can we take. So in this why, we discussed about one major reason. What is that? Base year is not updated. So here, if you have the reasons why IMF gave this bad ranking or low ranking for India, so we can work on it and obviously we can improve that. So that is the area that you have to focus on. You have to see why and what are the measures can be taken. That's it, guys. So see that once already we discussed that in our earlier class. Okay, see some prelims based questions. In yesterday's class, we discussed about Deepavali got this UNESCO's intangible heritage list, right? So let us see the questions. First one is, consider the following statements about Diwali or Deepavali. It falls on Amavasya of Hindu month Kartika. Is that right? Next one. In South India, it is primarily associated with Lord Krishna's victory over Narakasura in South India. The festival is mentioned in the ancient texts like Padma Purana, Skanda Purana. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Option 1, 1 and 2. Option B, 2 and 3. Option 3, 1 and 3. Option D, 1, 2 and 3. Come on. Online students, tell me your answer in the comment box. 1 and 2. What about 3? Think. And see this next question, guys. Consider the following statements regarding inflation measurement in India. This first statement is CPI includes services prices while WPI does not. It is about difference between CPI and WPI. First statement. CPI includes services and WPI not include services. Second one, food items have higher weight in CPI than in WPI. Next one is RBI's inflation targeting framework uses headline CPI with a target 4 plus or minus 2. Which of the statements given is or correct? 1 and 2. Option B is 2 and 3, C is 1 and 3, and D 1, 2 and 3. Come on, think which is the right answer. Huh? Come on, think. Whenever you are reading your concepts, so if there is any comparison based things will be there, for sure you have to make notes regarding this table format so that you will not miss that kind of questions. And UPSC has tendency to ask in this comparative based, you will get at least 10 to 12 questions in your paper regarding this comparative based. Okay, think. Online students, tell me your answer in the comment box, don't forget. And this one is, the Indian Ocean is bounded by which of the following continents? A. Asia, Africa, Australia, Europe. B. Asia, Africa, Australia and Antarctica. Option C. Asia, Africa, Europe, and Antarctica. Option D, Asia, Australia, South America, and Antarctica. Again, big confusion. You know, only seven continents are there in the world. Asia, Africa, Australia, Antarctica. Andena, what about D? See once between D and B. Think once. Ah. Ah. Okay. Yeah, that's all, guys. So, by this, I'm concluding. Thank you so much, and please do like this class and share this class. And today, we are conducting this scholarship test for online GS Foundation course, and the new batch for this GS Foundation course is going to be started from 15th of December. If anyone wants to take online or offline admission, you can come and contact us. You can contact us on this number 8074765513. Don't forget, guys. Even you can text on that same number. Yeah, so if you have not yet registered for this GS online course scholarship test, please do register. Registration link is given in description box. Thank you so much, guys.